Hi, this is Alan with Alan's Firearms and Guns Plus More, and today, a little departure from my usual videos. It's a revolver. That's right. This is the Taurus 85, and this little puppy has some special features on it which we're going to go over at the workbench. So I'm not going to say too much about the gun right now. What I do want to do is clear up some information out there about Taurus and give a better understanding exactly what and who Taurus is. Taurus was a small tool and die company in Brazil, and in 1941 they made their first revolver. It was a pretty good production revolver for over there. What they did was they combined the qualities of Colt, Smith & Wesson, and some Spanish gun manufacturers to come up with their own original concepts. That's why a lot of them look familiar. Some of them look like old Colts or old Smiths. In 1968, Taurus came to the United States. They had marginal success. Until at a SHOT Show they announced, and they were the first to do this, a lifetime warranty on their firearms. It got them a lot of publicity, a lot of hoopla, and that was the beginning of the success of the Taurus company in the United States. Not too long after that, Smith & Wesson was bought by a conglomerate called Bangor Punta. Bangor Punta bought Smith & Wesson, and they also bought 54% of Taurus. They were not Taurus didn't own Smith, Smith didn't own Taurus, but they were sister companies. So a lot of technology went back and forth between the two companies. That's why a lot of people think that, oh, Taurus is copying Smith. Well, it wasn't so much copying Smith, it was a collaboration between two sister companies. Then I believe, this is sketchy. It's hard to understand some of the history, but it looks like Taurus bought back the 54%, and bought the machinery and the factory of Rossi. I'm not sure what year that took place in. That's a little sketchy. The thing is, Rossi itself is a separate company, still managed by the same Rossi family, but they are sort of like, it seems like they're renting the machinery from Taurus, and Taurus is selling Rossi, the Rossi name under their brand, and so the family is producing the guns for Taurus under the Brostec umbrella. Brostec. Now, who's Brostec? Brostec is like an import. Was the importing agent for Rossi. Now, in 1974, Beretta got a big contract from the Brazilian military, but in order to fill that contract, part of it was they had to open up a facility in Brazil, and they did that. They opened up a facility in Brazil, and when the contract ended, Taurus bought the complete factory and everything from Beretta. They also bought the Beretta USA factory and some of the rights to produce the guns that they were producing there, but they did make some distinct improvements on them. Some people might get upset with me for saying improvements, but a lot of us do believe some of the things they did to some of those Berettas were great. Well, that's the history of the company. They tried to do their best to make a good firearm. Some of them are excellent. Some of them have little issues, but over the years have been handled. They take care of all of their guns under warranty, so if you buy one and have an issue, don't worry, they'll take care of it. So without further ado, let's go to the workbench. Let's clean, lube, and I'll go over the basics of this special revolver. Hi, and welcome to the workbench with the Taurus 85. This is a special 85. It's not the regular Taurus. This is how that's just my store label. This is how it comes packaged. An NRA form, your Taurus lifetime repair policy, and the instruction book. The Taurus comes in this little plastic bag inside the box. Comes with a set of keys. What these keys are for, this is an interesting thing. You can put it right in here like this. You can turn it, pull it out, and now the gun is locked. You cannot cock or fire the gun. So no trigger lock is necessary. It's very nice if you live in an area where, like, just say you're a businessman, you need to go to the post office a couple of times a week, or into areas where you're not allowed to carry a firearm, like if you want to go into a bar. You can lock the firearm, leaving it in your car, and you know if someone did break in and steal it, the gun would be safe. Okay, so what makes this so special? Okay, so let's show that the gun is safe. I know it is. This is an orange ring in there. That means there's no room for any ammunition. But we look, we check the cylinder, and you can see there are no rounds in the cylinder. And of course, that's the only place a bullet could go, a round could go. So here we go. You can shoot this in single action, or you can shoot it double action. I know people are saying, so what's so special about this gun? It's got what they call a convertible hammer. Now, the downside to having a hammer with a spur on it like this is that when you draw it out of your holster, it gets caught on your shirt, or if you pull it out of your pocket, it gets caught on your clothing. So a lot of people want guns that have what they call a bobbed hammer, no hammer, or a gun that has no hammer at all. It's totally encased, or it has a rail that goes over this area so the hammer has nothing to get hooked up on. Well, what Taurus came up with was you just turn this on its side and pull it out. There you go. Now I have a hammerless revolver. It's not really hammerless, but it's spurless revolver. And I can carry this in my pocket or in my waistband and not worrying about it getting caught on clothing. And all I have to do to put it back together again, let's take a closer look at that. So all I have to do to put it back together, and you can see that shiny little spot, that is a detent, and it fits in the little detent hole right on here. And there's the slot that it rides into. So you turn it on its side, you stick it in, you turn it, and you have a hammered revolver. Now, some people say, well, what's the difference? Why don't I just get one without a hammer? What do I need a hammer for? Especially if it's getting caught on stuff. Well, to override that, if you practice enough drawing, your thumb would be on the hammer as you draw it, and it wouldn't get caught on anything. And now you cock it as it comes out, and you have a very light trigger pull, which means the gun is extremely accurate. At the range, you want to hit targets, you shoot it in single action mode. So let me pull this back out. Well, I'm going to show you this removing of the hammer again while I have this up here, this close. I turn it sideways. You can see it's sideways now. And I pull it out, and it comes right out. To put it back in, I just put it in the hole. All I have to do is there's a little detent. You can see the little shiny detent in there. And there is a little channel on here that rides over the detent. And then I turn it, and it locks into a little detent hole that's on the hammer. Cannot be pulled out. Watch the trigger as I pull the hammer back. See how the trigger goes all the way back? Now it's like a hair trigger. Doesn't take much to do it. Now, I mean, with my hand in the same exact position, I don't have enough strength to pull the trigger. I have to actually hold the gun and get a good grip on the trigger. Pull it back. Very simple. So those are the high points of this gun. It does not have a rear sight. It has a slot. You look down the barrel. It has a plain ramp front sight. It has no color on it. It's not really necessary. This is an ultralight. It's meant to be pulled out and used within 3 or 5 feet. It has a nice, easy, open switch here. That's your ejection rod. For those of you who are new to revolvers, and revolvers are making a big comeback, but I gave a concealed carry class the other week, and a kid bought a Smith & Wesson revolver, and when I did that in the demonstration of guns in the shop, he was like, oh wow, we were using a pencil to push them out at the range. and everybody was standing, and he goes, I was wondering why everybody was standing around looking at us strange. So I guess no one went over and helped them, so I'm assuming they just thought that their ejector was broken. That's the ejection rod. You push the front, and, and very simple. To clean this gun is really simple, because all you have to do, take a little, I use Strike Hold. It's a one process cleaner, so you clean your gun, you don't have to use anything else. But I will lube this gun to show you the few places you would lube it. If you want to know more about Strike Hold, go to my video on my channel. I do a whole video on the Strike Hold itself. So I'm just going to run the patch down the barrel, get it to unravel, ruffle, back again, through the barrel, and pull it out again. You could see that did take out some dirt, because they do test fire these guns down each of the cylinder chambers. And if this was a gun that I was shot, it wasn't just, this is new, so I really don't have to do this that much. But if this was a gun that I just shot, I would spend more time than just going once or twice through each one. I would do it until the patch came out clean. If you're shooting, if you buy a gun like this as a 357 and you're shooting 38 specials, which you can do out of a 357, you want to pay particular attention to cleaning the front of these chambers out really well, because what happens is the shell is shorter, so a lot of dirt builds up on the outside of those on the front of those chambers, and then when you put a 357 in there, they don't want to eject, or they're hard to get in. Okay, so that's all clean. So now what we're going to do is take some Strike Hold, and we're going to clean off my ejector rod. We're going to push this through and clean off the inside part of the ejector rod between the ejector and the chambers. I'm going to clean off the ejector itself. Okay. I'm going to make sure the face of my cylinder is really clean, and this gets a little dirt on there, so you want to go over that a few times. And then on the front of this, I'm going to spend some extra attention to get the dirt off of the front of the cylinder, because that's where it builds up. Powder pushes out through between the forcing cone and the cylinder, and it really stains up the front of your guns. You want to make sure you get that good. And we're going to, what I just said, we're going to get in here around the forcing cone. In fact, you can use take one of the sticks I always use on pistols, if you guys have watched my other videos, and go right in and around the forcing cone using it wrapped around one of these sticks. I'm going to get inside here. I'm going to get the face plate. I'm going to get inside of the top strap. I want to clean out, wrap this up. I'm going to clean off the crane. This is called the crane. Inside there. And inside the barrel lug that has an ejector protector on it. Okay. Once all that's done, I'm just going to take a cloth and wipe down the rest of the gun with Strike Hold. If I'm not using Strike Hold, instead of using Strike Hold on the outside of the gun, all these parts I'm doing right now, I'd hit with gun wax, because gun wax won't get on your clothing. You wipe it on, let it sit for a couple of seconds, and then wipe it off, but it will still protect the outside of your gun. Strike Hold gives it a dry finish. It doesn't get on your clothing afterwards, but it does protect the gun from rust. And if you're carrying this on your body, you got to be careful, because it's a metal gun, and you will find that your body moisture will deleterious effects on it. Okay, so that's it. Now, where do you oil this gun? Okay, so I'm going to take a clean cloth, put some oil on it, I'm going to turn the cylinder and let the rag just touch the front of the ejection rod. I'm going to hit the ejection rod with some oil. Hit the other side. I'm going to get the face of this, and I'm not going to put any on the front. I'd say only wax on the front because this gets a lot of dirt in there, and also on the forcing cone. Don't use oil. All that will happen is the oil will build up the dirt because the oil will attract the dirt as the gun fires. I'm going to just go inside in here, and I'm going to put 1 drop of oil down behind the hammer. Even though I know the gun is empty, as you see, I never point the gun at myself when I'm operating it, and neither should you. It just makes good habits. And then I'm going to put 1 drop of oil behind the hammer. I did it behind the trigger, now behind the hammer. I'm going to pick up that extra oil, and I'm going to put 1 in front of the hammer. I got a little bit there. And now I'm just going to take this rag and stick it in there to pick up the excess. You know, I don't like excess oil on anything. Okay. And there we have it. This is the convertible hammered Model 85 UL for ultralight, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Come back for more. I'm going to have more. Thanks for joining me with the Taurus 85 convertible hammer. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I will be bringing you more content. So until next time, this is Alan saying, keep your shooting straight, safe, and on target.